Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Learning Together startup first kind of day of this. My name is Ariel Gamiño. I'm the HEAA president. Super excited to be here. This is one of our main events that we do to bring alumni, students, and friends together, just to learn together and talk about a topic that we're all excited about. I do have a few slides to go through. And the idea is to go through the slides, talk about it, and talk about what you're going to study, and then we'll do a Q&A. Our agenda today basically consists of us introducing the series, what this is all about, your guides, who's going to be helping you, assisting you with the study groups, a little bit of what AI is from my point of view, and then what we're going to learn together and how we're going to learn together. Some of the roles, the process, we can do that. And then by the end, we'll do some breakout. We'll do about 20 people per group to be able to just talk about it. What do you want to study? What do you want to do a study group of? And what do you want to get out of this experiment? So this is a unique learning experience focused on basically doing study groups in a way that is collaborative. So the idea is for us to come together, select a topic. You either can lead a group or you can just be a participant of the group. The idea is let's learn together. I don't know all of it. I know a little bit of it. Maybe you know a lot of it. And the idea is how do we combine all of our efforts to be able to learn together and be part of this amazing community. Your guides, my name is, like I said, Ariel Gamiño. I am the current HEAA president. Super happy to be here, super happy to build community. HEAA, our goal is to have connect, surf, and celebrate, and learn together. Part of that is learn together. Alumni, students, and everyone in our community are lifelong learners, and that's what excites me about it. That's what makes me so energized about being part of this group and being one of the volunteers to bring us together. I'm a principal AI engineer for a company called Cognite. We're on the heavyset industry, oil and gas. I'm principally working on building AI agents with our product. And I also teach a data analytic bootcamp through 2U ADX at different universities. 3 out of the 4 years I've been teaching has been at University of Texas at Austin, my hometown here in Texas. Vidur, you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. It's not going to be as impressive as you, but I'll give it a shot. I am Vidur Nayyar, based out of New York. I'm a recent McKinsey alumni, where I was a junior partner leading the AI transformation work. I'm also now a founder of Upchange AI, a company aiming to help businesses and individuals in their AI transformation journey. I'm also on the board of multiple startups and then organizations helping push the answer forward for AI. And pretty excited to be here co-hosting with Ariel and looking forward to learn about your journeys and connect with all of you.
Great, thanks, Vidur. And I want to talk a little bit about where we are with AI, and the idea of this group of this learning together came out around last year when we started it. But about 2 years ago, we had a presentation on AI, which I gave to the community. And as you have seen in the past 3 years, it's been just crazy. AI is everywhere. ChatGPT came to the market, and now it's covering all the companies, all the industries, and all the spaces. And I like to show this picture because I created this picture when 2 years ago, it was pretty amazing to say, hey, AI, create a picture of whatever. And text to image was something that was out of a science fiction book. And this image was basically, here's a picture of John Harvard statue in Harvard Yard. Go ahead and make a robot out of it. And this thing came out of that. And it was pretty impressive. The ability for AI to be able to come in and create this stuff. A year later, this is what I showed last year, which is an image of a better quality. It gives you the background of the building, which looks like the one that is behind the John Harvard statue. And it's more like a detailed robot, like detailed looking robot of the statue of John Harvard, which is fantastic. And again, 1 year difference between 2023 and 2024, and the ability for AI to do something that is highly quality like that. This year, and I did this last Sunday, I basically said, give me an image of John Harvard as a robot in Harvard Yard. And you can see the quality just got much, much better. You can see the quality of the branches, the quality of the tree, the buildings behind the robot, which are basically looks like Harvard Hall in the yard, and it's amazing. And if you look at the quality, and it's kind of hard to see because they have to reduce the quality of the image, but you can see like the cables, the fingers of the robot. This is wearing glasses. Pretty amazing stuff, from 2023, where we were here, to 2024 to 2025, where we are. But not only that, now we can do not only images, we can also do movies. And again, this is like a small little exercise that I created last Sunday. And I say, take this image and make a movie out of it. And this is something called OpenAI Sora. And I say something like, put some of my students in the background. And it's basically the same image, but now it's creating a movie out of it. And the one thing that's so impressive about this thing is not only the people in the background that are waving and walking, and there's somebody taking a selfie here. Look at the reflection of the branches. So last year, the ability to see branches is amazing, but the ability to see the reflections of the branches is even more incredible to me. And it speaks highly of where we are in AI and why I'm so excited about it. And when I teach the class, I teach my students to be excited about it, because we are in a point in history that we can do this so easily. And again, just 2 years from a simple image, which was impressive, to all the way and create a movie of that image. And it's been an amazing journey. And I've been doing AI for about almost 7 years, it started about 2018 when GPT came out. And seeing all the history of the LLMs and all of the movement and the amazing stuff that's been happening in the past months, really, it's been incredible. From GPT to BERT to GPT-2 to getting ChatGPT a couple of years ago, and that explosion that created a bunch of companies, a bunch of ideas, and a bunch of opportunities, also a bunch of fears around it. But also the ability for us to have open source models like Llama 3 and other ones. And of course, a couple of weeks ago, DeepSeek 3, DeepSeek R1, which came in and did a big splash on the market and in the industry, and people are thinking and talking about it. The ability to create open source with less money, and the ability to have companies that before you needed millions of dollars to create a large language model. Now you still spend a lot of money, but you do it in a much cheaper way. And one of the things I tell my students is that the trajectory open source is exciting, because it means that more people will have access to it, and we can do more stuff with it. And again, multiple companies around it that do all this. This is a website called Feature Tools IO, which kind of keeps track of some of the tools that are out there to do anything from generate TikTok videos to automate phone-based voices to do presentations with AI. So a bunch of tools you can just look for. And again, companies that are exploding out of this LLM and AI technologies. And the interesting thing is, like 2 years ago, when I started showing this to my students, in April 2023, this site only had 1,300 tools. Last year, when with this group, it had 2,700 tools. Now it's up to 3,200 tools. And again, companies, explosions, opportunities to be able to leverage this amazing technology to do multiple things. And that's basically what we want to do. We want to capture all of this knowledge, all of this technology, and learn together. How do we leverage for different things? How do we use it for looking for a job? How do we use it for creating AI agents? What does that mean for ethically in AI? And there's some questions that we haven't answered yet. But the idea is, how do we come together and talk about it in a way that we learn from each other? So what we're going to learn together, and we put it in 3 buckets. And again, we can add more buckets if you need something else. The technical side of it, ability to build something like a rack system knowing what a RAG system is, leveraging AI agent, which is something that I'm passionate about this year and what I'm doing now at work. Open source LLMs, which last year they were not as accessible as they are today. But also the practical, again, AI for work and personal use. How do I leverage Google Studio to be able to help me with work? How do I leverage Anthropic's cloud models? And they came up with an amazing one yesterday to help you to code. How do we use things like Cursor to code faster and create applications out of just prompts? And basically like prompt engineering. One of the things that I tell my students, one of the skills that is really good to learn is basically how to talk to these things. How do we do prompt engineering to AI in a way that makes sense, in a way that allows you to get better performance, and learning the different techniques that you can do to do prompt engineering. And also impact on AI in society, AI and the workforce transformation. A lot of the entry-level jobs are changing because they're asking people to have AI knowledge to be able to be at entry level. Even at senior level, people are saying, "Hey, have you have any AI exposure?" Because it will make you perform better. One that I'm passionate about, I'm really interested about, is AI and education. How does that change? And I can tell you from my own perspective, it has helped me as an instructor to be able to give better classes. And I put my curriculum in ChatGPT and say, "Hey, what am I missing?" Or put like a little code or a little example code. They're going to show my class. What should I also add to complete this class? And it's been amazing for me. But also the emotional and mental health implication of AI. When ChatGPT came into the market, the first thing that I saw people go through was basically like, "Oh, what is this? What is this? Thing that we have invented that can create something that can mimic how humans create text, music, video." And there's definitely a psychological aspect of that we're like, "Whoa, wait a minute, what is this new thing that we have?" And I think that's the one thing that we haven't really talked about much, well, the emotional aspect and the mental aspect of that, and how that's going to change, and keeps evolving. So how are we going to learn together? We're going to do live virtual sessions. My hope is to start getting some speakers into this group. I'm talking to Juan Lavista, who is the VP of Microsoft AI for Good. It's really hard guy to get to come, but I'm hoping to get him to come to speak to us at some point this year. I was talking to the founder of Bordy, an app that was seeded about a month ago with $1 million, and the AI itself was able to talk to the investors and convince them to invest in the AI, which is pretty amazing. So I'm hoping to have Andrew come talk to us. But also we do study groups. If somebody wants to learn about how to do AI agents, which is the group I'm going to lead, let's come together and let's do AI agents. If somebody wants to talk about more AI in education, let's form a group around that. So the core of us is basically the study groups. And we meet frequently. Each study group will meet every week, every 2 weeks. Last year, we have a bunch of groups that met every week, and they had a WhatsApp group and have different ways to communicate. But it was really good to see a lot of enthusiasm on forming groups. And we do online collaboration. We do have a couple of ways to do it, but basically we'll use some of the LinkedIn and the Teams to be able to communicate. And we'll have a Teams channel just to do like day-to-day communications. We'll create channels for each group, and then we'll have a LinkedIn group for you guys to join. I'm going to put the LinkedIn group, if you haven't joined yet, on the chat to be able to have a place for all of us to list the groups we want to. Let me put everybody here. To be able to post what we're going to learn and kind of do the study groups, and we use the Teams to be able to communicate on a day-to-day basis. All right, so how are we going to organize ourselves? Vidur, you want to talk about the roles?
Absolutely. So if you're here, you have three different ways that you can collaborate. The first one is you can volunteer to be a study group leader. So as a leader, what you'll be doing is, one, figuring out what are the topics which you are interested in, and then obviously what other people are interested in. You would also be pivotal in orchestrating all the different meetings, calls, the agenda, and then facilitating the discussions, and then also ensuring that the participation of your group is high. One thing we did last time around, I was leading one of the groups, was having a healthy competition between other groups of how good our end results are going to look like. The other way to collaborate is being a participant, being a student, but then you can either just learn, but we encourage that you participate, present, share your knowledge, and take part in any of the events that you can to be out there, collaborate, and bring in people who have similar thinking and are excited about similar things. We can go to the next page. The third role that you have is of a presenter. So this is if you're very excited about a certain aspect of AI, you're most welcome to present to a wider audience. We can do this as a webinar, live question and answer session. Could also do a podcast. Uh, it's all about radiating whatever your knowledge is and getting together a group of people to do that for you, for you as well. So today we are kicking off the series. We are at the end of February. You would have till March 4th to understand what are the different topics you are excited about to put in the polls. Now anybody can select the topics and put in the poll for the topic. You would as on the other side, you can also select the topics which have been proposed, and as you select the topics, we would match you to those study groups which are being formed. How the study groups are going to be formed, it's going to be based on the number of votes that a group has received or the viability of a certain group being formed. All of that process is going to end by March 9th. After that, we'll have 3 months of study period. We'll have a midpoint check-ins just so that you can update your cohort and all of us where you are, what you're heading towards, and what the final goal is going to look like. And then the final one is going to be presentation in June, where everybody is going to come together, share what their learnings are, what their knowledge is, and as you have the groups formed, you would also be picking the leader within the group. And something that has worked very well for us in the past is either the person who had suggested the group or people who are an expert in that area lead the groups in a better way. So I'm going to hand it over to Ariel for the steps that you can follow to actually go and build those groups to start the polling for it.
All right. So next steps, you gotta decide you want to lead a group or you want to co-lead a group, or you're gonna just participate. And I think a lot of you guys answered that already on the form. But as we do the study groups, maybe you want to say, hey, I want to, and you don't have to know anything about the topic. You say, I want to lead a group to study X and Y, Z. You can do a topic that you lead, or you can be a participant. Examples of groups, you can be a teacher again, you can just teach a class if you want to, you can be a moderator, kind of like facilitate learning, or you can be a presenter. You can say, hey, I don't have time for a study group, I don't have time for this, but I would love to have a slot to present to the group about what I do with AI or what I learned in the past 2 years. We can do that as well. You gotta decide how deep you want to learn. You can, go to the woods, do hands-on. My AI agents, I'll do 3 phases in which we'll start from like, what are the agents? What are they? A few ways for us to do it without coding, and then go deep into the coding for anyone who wants to like coding in Python and go deep into it. So I'll do that. You just want to learn practical things. Maybe you say, hey, how do I do a video like the one I show you? I can show you that easily through OpenAI. Maybe I want to use AI tool for work. Google Studio is a good example of that. Google Notebook LLMs is a good example of that. Maybe you just want to learn that. Maybe read and discuss research papers. One of the groups last year did that a lot, which was pretty amazing in the ability for you to let's Google like an academic paper and really learn from it, which is incredible. Or maybe just choose an AI app and learn from it. Or again, just one-time presentation of your idea, your company, or the knowledge you have. And then you have to decide how often you want to meet. And again, that's up to the group to decide. Every week, every 2 weeks, maybe one time, maybe once a month. Again, we have 3 months to kind of learn together and kind of decide on those 3 buckets. And the way we're going to create the study groups, we're going to do it on LinkedIn, like I said. If you want to start like a group, yeah, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry,
Yep.
so this study is very restricted to LLMs only, or it's because AI is a vast field. So
Yeah.
are you allowing different dimensions of AI, or you want to restrict it to certain LLMs only?
Whatever you want to look at, and I was looking at the chat right now, and one of the questions was, and we had the same question last year, and we should have, we could do that. We say, hey, I just need a basic what is AI, kind of class. I could do that, and we can do that. The other question was like, what's an LLM? And my fault because LLMs are large language models, and LLM is the back end of ChatGPT and everything that makes AI possible today. We can do like a 101, like, hey, I know nothing about AI. I just came here to learn as much as I can. We can do that. So that could be a study group, and happy to lead that as well. Yeah. So, you can go as deep as you want, or as as simple as you want. I said this amazing tool that uses AI. I don't know how it works, but I'm going to show you how to use it, kind of thing. Good question. Any other question before I move on? Yeah, so get a copy of the materials. Yes, we're going to. So this is being recorded. We're going to post it in about a week or 2 weeks. And we'll send you guys. I'll post the slides on the LinkedIn group for sure. All right. So the way we're gonna do the study groups, you create a poll in LinkedIn, and the poll is gonna look something like this. And if you go there now, you'll see this, which I created on Sunday. This is gonna be a type of group, the format, and the faces. And again, you can put whatever you want here. Moderate late, and if anyone wants to co-lead with me and do it together, fantastic. Maybe 2 hours every other week. This is what I'm thinking about. We'll use Google Meet to meet. And my faces for this group will be like, what are agents? And let's go with the basics. What is this thing called AI agents, and what do they do? 101. Maybe the next phase is like, hey, how can I leverage this technology if I don't know how to code? And there's a couple of ways to do it. This is no-code tools. Basically, how do I build an agent? Just by dragging and dropping a bunch of stuff in a screen. That's how you do it. But then also, if you want to go deep and then build your own agents using Python, that's the one stuff I do at work, and the stuff that I want to learn more of, we'll explore that possibility as well. How do we select the best tool? What tools are out there? And how do we build it? So this is an example of a poll. This is a real poll. So when you go to the LinkedIn, you should be able to create a poll, either to lead a group, or you can look at the groups that are being created and just click on, hey, I want to learn the basics of what they are. I want to learn low code. I want to learn Python. I want to learn all of the above. So again, one point is anyone who wants to lead or co-lead a group, create the poll, and people who want to participate, join the poll. Just basically you join it by answering the question in it. The other thing we're gonna do before I forget, if I'm gonna ask you for your emails, because we're gonna have 3 ways to communicate. I lost my 1 second. There's gonna be a couple of ways to do it. We're gonna communicate through a LinkedIn group. That's one. Sometimes people miss the LinkedIn group because they're not paying attention, or get a bunch of LinkedIn notifications. We're gonna have the teams, but also we're gonna do this year better. We're gonna have a form. If you want to receive emails about anything, fill out this form. The one I posted on. The one I posted on the chat. If you want to be informed, beside the LinkedIn group, beside the teams, I'll personally, me and Vidur will email you directly of all the stuff that's happening. All right. So create the group. The next 2 weeks, join a group. And this is just going to give you an idea of what people want to learn in this group. This were the answers from the survey that we took when you registered for the event. So 44% want to do technical stuff, building a rack system. And a rack system is basically a way for you to enhance the LLMs to be able to put in information that is not in the LLM, and we can talk about the basics of that. open source LLMs, and again, agents. So 44% of you say that. Most of you said, hey, I want to learn something practical. I love to do it for AI for work. I was updating my resume at the beginning of the year, and I use ChatGPT and I use Google Studio to be able to do it. I can show you that. Or somebody can show you that as well. Prompt engineering, like I said, AI for career development. How do we use that? So most of you wants to learn something practical, which is great. 60% of you guys said, hey, I want to talk about the impact in society. I want to talk about the implications in healthcare, the implications on the job market. I saw this study that said that 50% of the jobs are going to change in the next 10 years, 5 years. What does that mean? How do I prepare? We can do a group on that. All right. So, any questions about anything what I said so far? Yes, Daphne.
Hi, simple question. We can't access the Google form.
You cannot?
Nope.
What did I do wrong?
It
Requires
says
permission.
it requires access.
So you
See?
probably have a bunch of requests sitting in your email.
Yeah, probably. I just submitted a request.
Let me, yeah, probably, that is weird. Wonder if you, try again. We're talking about AI and I can see a form. I can,
Can we also get the forum link pasted again in the chat, please? Thank you.
yeah, I'll do that. 1 second. Let me know if you can access it.
Did you want us to paste our email addresses right here in the chat?
You can do that as well. I'm gonna save the chat as well. But let's see if you have the form. It'll be easier for me to do it. All right,
Okay,
I'm gonna
gotcha.
paste it again.
It worked this time.
Yes, thank you, technology. Again, we're gonna talk about AI, but I can't do a form.
Can you please go back to the first slide with the presenters' names and titles?
Yeah, I can do that.
Do you have a link to the Harvard Extension Alumni Association page you're doing up there?
To our website?
Yeah, to the LinkedIn that you're showing up?
Yep. Post it again.
And I'm sure a bunch of other people have requested to join that LinkedIn page. If you could accept that as well, so we could do that poll, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yep. Let me go back to here. There you go. Let me go ahead and paste the link. The request to join. Oh, I think you got them right, Vidur.
I got them.
Awesome. So you should be able to good to go. I'm gonna put my email on the chat. If you have any questions or anything that doesn't work out, please email me. Well, I was gonna put it on the slide, but I forgot. And you should also have it on the email that was sent for announcing this event. Okay. Any other questions?
One question I have, Ariel, is a great presentation, very organized. Thank you so much. Can we lead or opt to lead more than one study groups or presentations at a time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you have the time, by all means, yeah. I mean, there's things that I might lead like a one-on-one AI for just because I think it makes sense. There'll be like one shot, but then I'll lead the AI group. Yeah, if you want to lead more than one, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna move from this slide back to what's next, because what we want to do next is basically do breakouts. Get a smaller group of us to kind of discuss what we want to learn from it, and just talk about ideas, talk about how and what we want to learn. And then we'll come back and we can talk about it, and we can put it in the chat as well. And then we can start doing the groups on the LinkedIn page. So I'll open up the breakouts. The idea is to do smaller groups. Introduce yourself. What topics you want to learn, the format, maybe the structures will be most valuable to you. Again, if you're ready to go and say, hey, I'm gonna create polls, by all means, and that'll be fantastic. And we'll do the Teams side to stay connected. Do we have a Teams link, Vidur, or not yet?
No, we'll create them as the groups are formed.
Perfect. Okay, let's do that. Florencia, you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. I remember some time ago there was a similar initiative. Is this a continuation or a revamp of what we have?
Yeah, good question. This is our second year of doing this thing. So we started in the last year. Yep. This is like our second part. Yep.
Okay, good, great.
Priya?
Yeah, I'm having some issues with my internet connection, but I did request for the LinkedIn access for the group. And is that the only thing that you shared so far, or is there a canvas or something that where you will be posting this?
So we'll post the slides on the LinkedIn group.
LinkedIn group. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Susan.
Hi. Can you show us how you create poll in the LinkedIn group?
Yeah. Let me go back to the slide and show you again. So the way you do it is like this. So you create
Can you
a
share
poll.
your screen, please?
Okay, where is this page you're putting up there?
Let me share my screen again if you want to see it.
Yeah, can we have the link to this LinkedIn?
Yes. Vidur, can you paste it again, please?
Yes.
Let me show you the LinkedIn group and the way you do it. Here. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is to click on the poll, and the way you do it, this is the LinkedIn group. You click here on the poll. Here you create the questions you have, and basically the questions are going to be. Let me go to the next slide so you see it. The questions are going to be what the options you want to give your people you want to attend your study group. In my case, I say something like the basics of what they are. The question was, select any of the answers if you want to join the study group. What do you want to learn about AI agents? That's getting my study group. So the basics, low code, no code tools, Python, those, and all of the above. So that's my options. But let's say you want to create something about what tool you want to learn for job, let's say, for instance, again, I'm just making that up. And something, how to use chat GPT for resume building, V1. Yeah, limit. Can be how to use Google Studio for job applications. Google Studio for job applications, for job or other. Okay, so let's say your question is you want to ask your study group, which one of these tools you want to learn for job search, let's say, right? So I create a poll, and you can say 2 weeks, 1 week, so once you have your poll, which is this part here, now you paste this second part, which is, okay, tell me the type of group you're forming, right? So this type of group is going to be type of group, moderator led, or moderator, something like that, right? So the type, the format, you say, let's meet 3 times. Okay, and then yeah, that could be it. The one thing you can also is you can your email. So my email here. If you have questions or anything, I mean, you can always do it through LinkedIn, but you can just put an email here. So let's say that's my study group. It's going to be how to job search. And now that I'm ready, I click post. And what's that going to do is going to be showing the poll like this one here. I got this correct. So I'm not gonna. It's going to be shown like this. So now all of you should be able to see the poll, study group, type of group, format, and then select which to learn. Again, I can't vote because I created it, but if you say, I want to learn the basics of what they are, click on it. I want to learn all about it, click on it. So that's basically how we do it, the polls. Did that answer your question, Susan? Yeah? Okay, awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and let's get into study groups. And let's do for about 10, 15 minutes or so. And let's come back and then discuss it and go in Q&A. All right. All right, I bring everybody back. Let's see, people still on the breakout. A little bit back. All right, how were the study groups? Big breakouts.
Awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to discuss what came out of that?
Everyone
Yeah.
wants so many different things, but the common denominator is AI, and everybody's hungry to learn and expand. So I'm just so excited to see what group I'm going to end up with. And I like the group that I was set up with, so I was hoping maybe they were going to be it. So I'm stoked.
Good, awesome. Nadine.
Yeah, I think that we had several discussions about how, imagining or thinking the options of what the potential can be and what we're interested in. My thoughts are, and I've shared this with the group, is that it's just an opportunity to reimagine everything we do. We zeroed in on education, for example, and I think it was Molly that shared of how, AI is being leveraged, or the writing part is being leveraged in the classroom. And then, and the way the educators are using band-aids to just monitor, they cannot write at home, they have to do it in class, and all of this stuff are just ways to just fix around or work around the elephant in the room, which is not going anywhere. And I feel like this is an opportunity to reimagine what learning is, what educating is, and how we do it, and the whole methodology and a curriculum there, how patient care is, and how, medicine can be. It's just, we have to reimagine that. It's just no longer as it used to be, and then just fix a way to work around that.
Yeah, I love it. And again, that's one of the things I love what you said, reimagine what we do, because that's basically what AI is doing. And for a bunch of industries and education, like I said, my passion as well. So many opportunities to leverage for good. So love it. Stephen.
For me, and my background is in education, school education, university education, and now national education policy in Australia. There are so many things to unpack. There is potential, yes, but facing issues like cognitive unloading. And in our group, we ended up talking about, I guess, iterations of technology that have changed the way we behave. We're not using slide rules and log tables anymore. We're calculators, then Google searching. All these things have happened over time. But this is probably slightly different because you still have to know how to use a calculator to make it work for you.
Yeah.
AI, we're starting to step into the world where you can just divest yourself in some respects of the responsibility for doing any thinking at all, and just pose a basic question and see what you get back and go with it. And the uncriticality of that, the generational impacts of losing skills, individual capabilities, it goes on and on. So I'm hoping we do end up with a group that really focuses heavily on education specifically, to unpack and share some of those things. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, well, thanks for seeing that. Like, a lot of good talk, and yeah, that's a lot to do on that. Hui Lee.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, the general themes our group discussed was leveraging AI to improve our daily work-related activities, to improve productivities across different fields, whether it's medical, legal, administrative, right, cybersecurity, or even program and development applications. So leveraging AI to streamline or make our daily work more productive. We also have a couple of high school students looking to learn more AI and plan to go into law school, and would like to leverage AI for the study as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you want to invite your friends and students to your study group, by all means, we're alumni based, but honestly, if you see or know anyone that would benefit from it, by all means, invite them to the group. Yep. Franklin.
Yes, so in our breakout room, we explore the impact of AI, right? Especially as pertain to our life, acknowledging the challenges and the opportunities that it presents. So some of the members expressed concerns about job displacement, while others, highlighted AI's potential to enhance productivity and efficiency across various areas. We also discussed how important prompting was, both effectively interacting with AI, which can shape the different outputs and make it a powerful tool, rather than one that has poor results and you actually end up having, loss of productivity, right? So we kind of discuss how, learning how to guide the AI can help us harness this capability to support our work, decision-making, and the rest. One key takeaway that we had was, especially with the fear that we might lose a job, was the fact that if we leverage our human creativity, which is not matched by AI for the moment, right? If we leverage it with AI, so rather than replacing us, AI can complement these skills and can help us explore new venues, right? New careers, innovate, and perhaps grow even in ways that were not imagined before. I, for one, it's a perfect example for that. So by both leveraging the human ingenuity and the AI capability, we could adapt, thrive, and even make sure that we can shape all this to our own advantage. And we had some examples like using AI to write a book where you can get a decent output, but if you're a creative and very strong writer, then you can have an extraordinarily great book out of it with the help of AI.
I love it. I think, what you said about the prompt engineering part of it. What I tell my students is like, there's no one here with 3 years of prompting engineering experience. So hence the opportunity, like you start now, you'll have, a year, 1/3 of what people can have now. So definitely prompting is one of those skills that I feel, even for my stuff, it's really useful to know different techniques to do. And it's not that hard. It's basically a couple of techniques. And it has been shown that the better you can prompt and the techniques you use, you can leverage language models that are not as performant as more expensive ones if you know how to prompt. Yeah, for sure. Rizwan. Rizwan, you're muted. Can't hear you for some reason. You can type your comment in the chat if you want. Sorry. Dean.
Yes, good afternoon. Ariel, is it okay if I ask a question from the team?
Yeah, please.
Part of the topic of the group discussion. It's great to be with everybody here and really inspired to know all your backgrounds. It's incredible. I have a question for the team. I was wondering, where do you see the the largest impact from AI from a portfolio perspective? Like, if you see great opportunities in companies that you think are going to do well in the next 5 to 10 years, can you identify some companies? Or if you think there are some companies that AI will completely destroy and you are very concerned about, could you share your thoughts and really on the application side of things, like the company impacts? Thank you.
That's a study group by itself.
This is Gary Tang. I was in that study group. This is not financial advice, but if anyone saw the CES show in Las Vegas, there's a company called Realbotix, XBOTF, and they're currently a penny stock. I think they're only about 90, or they're even, I think, like 90 cents or something. But they make AI androids that are like humanoid. Specifically, they make a female one that's called Ariel, or Ariel. And I don't know, in my view, we're going to see them everywhere. They're going to be everywhere, like millions of them. It's already projected to be a $500 billion industry, and it's just in its infancy. So as far as portfolio goes,
wow,
that's my crystal ball.
You had her here first.
Special advice.
Thanks, Gary. Anybody else? That's a good question from Dean.
What was the ticker symbol, Gary?
XBOTF.
And again, this is not financial advice, big disclaimer.
Financial advice, big disclaimer. Yeah.
Gary's not a financial advice expert. I know him.
Yeah, I would just say, Gary, to tack onto that, in that humanoid arena, Figure One, I want to say, is another company that are making these humanoids that manufacturers are picking up. So think car manufacturers, somebody that is depending on human capital as the labor. And they already have AI kind of built into them, but they're massive contracts that I'm seeing that's taken off to that. But my answer to that, to answer the gentleman's question, I think it was Dean that was talking, I think productivity across every aspect of what we do will be accelerated and enhanced by AI. You can make that applicable to a specific vertical, but it's a work with. It's not an either or, in my opinion. It's learning how to safely and securely adopt AI in a responsible way to accelerate any efforts. If that's generating new ideas, if that's generating new images, like I think there's a whole competitive landscape for any company that's not thinking about it. You're going to get left behind. So I think there has to be a global thought process around how AI is going to have an impact to your organization and your daily life.
Kevin, can you attribute that comment to a specific company where you think is going to be helpful to add productivity to almost any industry?
Yeah, that's hard. My background is cyber. I've been doing cyber for the last 20 years or so. So I'm hyper focused on the governance and just, data security, data protection side of that. And it's a race right now. You have every technology OEM coming out with some messaging, but as you guys know, being in the technology field, you have to really comb through that and say, all right, how much of it's marketing, how much of it's ready, and then not even if it's ready, but where does it sit, right, in comparison versus product A versus product B. So for me, as a practitioner, it's very hard to say one's better than the other. But I would just say from a technology aspect, one of the immediate spots that you can look at is AI access. Palo Alto Networks and Cisco have come out recently with some messaging around kind of AI access, being able to protect the generative AI chatbots themselves. So I think that's an area that we're going to see that's going to take off. But those are already very large companies that are not startups. There are a ton of startups on a daily, weekly basis that are probably coming out with some, runtime security, some niche area of how they plan to secure these models or provide security for these models.
Great response. Anybody else wants to respond to this question?
Just to clarify, those companies he mentioned are not public. Figure 1 is not public yet, and neither is Ghost Robotics. So right now, Realbotics is the first in the market.
Interesting. All right. Thank you, Dean. Daniel.
Yeah, I guess connecting the dots here, I'm thinking about it, productivity, all these tools that we have in our lives today, many of which we don't like using and really waste way too much time on for no productivity. I think anybody that's ever had to touch Salesforce has felt it adds no value to their life. So if you can bring something together that automates those tools and takes some of the useless tools out of your life, I think that's something AI can do. AI can by itself destroy the whole Salesforce company, actually. And there was a VC firm that refused to buy Salesforce and handled their entire CRM via email. And so they had something like 20 years of emails back and forth, and they dumped their emails into an LLM, and the LLM made an entire CRM system for them within seconds. So this is just one example. Obviously, at your own risk, and knowing a company's going down, also the timeline is the other side of it. But I think we all have tools in our day-to-day life that we wish we didn't need. And until there's a better way of doing them, we have to keep using these tools that actually kill our productivity. They don't increase it. I have to be in thousands of tools like that every week that I wish I didn't have to use because they're not helpful.
Yeah, good one. Priya.
I work for an insurance company, and just to showcase some of the use cases that we are working on, the entire customer service, chatbots, and how we interact with customers when they are trying to file a claim. That is completely getting taken over by AI solutions, right? So I can see that across the industry, we probably won't be ever talking to a customer service representative anymore. And then another thing is that document management, all the unstructured data that comes in through insurance or financial companies that can all get replaced by AI bots that reads and extracts the information that we need. Predictive analytics is another thing, like how we can do fraud detection and how we can predict some of the activities that customers do. In case of, that behavioral analysis would be a great use case too.
A good one. I was in a conference a couple of weeks ago in a panel, and the gentleman after us, he has an AI agent, like a voice agent for the funeral business, funeral home. So you call the funeral home, and basically, the bot answers, questions about prices and stuff like that. And the room was divided about what's good or bad because, but it's interesting, the ability to talk to a robot that sounds like a human for funeral businesses. So, Michael.
Yeah, thank you. I noticed that there's a lot of people in different fields. We have data security, education, healthcare. With me, I build websites and I'm a graphic designer. I work on e-commerce websites. I'm an entrepreneur. And where AI has benefited me is creating images that I can use for product images or advertisements, even if I have to do a bit of editing for it. And also if I'm writing a description for a product and there's one that's similar, I can write out my description, but then I can upload it into Chat GPT. I can say, make it longer, make sure it's not redundant, make it more appealing for high-end customers, make it so it's similar to this other product where there may be much more information on. And then I can go back and edit that down so it doesn't sound so AI. I can put it into Grammarly and it can give me an AI score on if it sounds like it's too AI, if there's lines in there that are similar to other websites to make sure I'm not plagiarizing. It'll actually give me those links so that I can modify it. But although many of us may be interested in learning more about the no-code or low-code tools, depending on what industry we're in, we may be more of a help to each other than others. If I'm in a group with somebody with healthcare, we're probably not going to help each other much. So if there it may be good to have us industry specific, if possible, in some study groups. So if anybody else works on e-commerce websites or they're interested, whether it's content for products or video or product images, any kind of photography or different media creation, that would probably be the most beneficial to me and to where I could benefit them as well. So if there's anybody that wanted to join a group with me, I'm not sure I'd be the right person to lead it, but I'd be happy to be in there. And I'll post my link in the chat, LinkedIn URL in the chat now. So if anybody specifically wanted to discuss that, I'd be happy to meet with them as well. Thank you.
Great, Michael. Thanks. Raisman,
Are you accepting Chiefs fans?
I'll accept everybody. It's really a matter if you'll accept me at this point, right? So
there you go.
Ariel, can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
All right, so finally got my mic working. So our group was very interesting. And one thing that was apparent in our group learning was the focus on ethics. And I think it's the way and the pace at which this technology is moving. Ethics discussion and understanding is becoming more and more emergent and almost like an emergency thing that we need to make more laws and understand this thing. However, there's also a great focus around the applied side of generative AI. I know creating an image or a video is fancy. It ticks us to say, oh wow, this is great. But how to really drive business value out of these systems is my focus, and I would love to lead a group around how to do consultation in your business or your space when somebody comes and say, can you resolve this with AI? Because now everybody thinks that all of my problems can be resolved with the AI. We just need to develop a solution for it. So I'm leading an effort at my company to understand we remain true to our business problems, to our human challenges, and utilize not a technology first approach, but a challenge or a problem first approach. So I would kind of, love to lead that there. Other question, one last thing that I want to talk about, people asked about a disruptive change, and I think that came from Dean. Great question, Dean, by the way. I think that the analytics field, Power BIs and Tableau and Source, it's going to change a lot, because the only reason we created dashboards is because we wanted to understand the trend of data so we can get a business insight out of it. But if the AI can learn your data at a machine at a global scale and just give you the insight out of it, this is my understanding of it, you would never need to see a dashboard again. And that's the kind of adoption that's happening at my company, where we're trying to bring an AI in the boardroom, and the board itself is quite scared, is because you cannot argue with it once it has become knowledgeable about the business practices and your products and everything. So one area that in the ethics is around how to raise your children in a world where they have access to AI. They can come back. ChatGPT said that. So same goes in the boardroom, is when you're discussing a debate and somebody says, let's just involve ChatGPT or our private AI to that, and it gives you advice that you cannot challenge now. So I think we're moving towards an area where we need to clear some boundaries around where we need to involve AI and where we need to stop. It says this is a human-only discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. A lot of good discussions, man. Raghav, sorry.
Sorry, I was muted. No, I just wanted to. There is a previous gentleman, he talked about, or some people talked about these bots. They're taking over, and they are going to be the new agent between us and the company. I actually came up with an example which was very scary, that the AI bot or AI agent or bot was talking to another AI bot. And then I don't know if it's futuristic or not, but they recognize each other that they are the bots, and they started, transmitting the data in a gibberish language. Is it fun or something? I just saw it today only, and I can post it. It's a very funny video that the AI bot is talking to AI bot and how they're transmitting the data and knowledge. It's very gibberish. So I don't know if it is true or not. I would like to hear from others. Like, is it happening? It's going to happen, or it was just fiction?
I thought too pretty funny, because like started talking and then like they changed like for those who remember the modem, how it sounded like the sound of a modem, and they started talking like that. It's really interesting. I think it came out yesterday. Yeah, it's interesting.
Exactly. You're talking. It was like a modem language. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Raga. Mati Shooter. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Mati. Yep.
Hi, no worries. Matthew's fine. Yeah, I think the point I want to make is really related to the education points that have been made before and the idea of privacy. So for a bit of background, I'm currently interning at a mediation firm, and I've been assigned a research project on the idea of AI note-taking in mediations and whether that violates ethical concerns and privacy. And it, as I started researching, it became more and more dystopian because I was looking at the privacy policies and how kind of in the fine lines they were talking about selling quite private and confidential information to LLMs and third parties in the name of kind of bettering the system. And I think it's really making me reflect on our relationship with AI. And our ethical standards especially, and how our ethical standards may need to increase, not in an antagonistic way towards AI, but in a way to ensure our privacy as individuals. So yeah, that's something that I was thinking about. So please do connect with me if you have any thoughts. I'm more than happy to discuss.
Interesting. Yeah, that ethical stuff, of a machine listening to what you say in mediation. It's interesting. A lot of discussions there, for sure. Sean?
Hey, so we had a very fun and interesting group, mostly beginners, which I include myself in that group. The things that folks mentioned that they have interest in were education, and also research and how AI works with these research. I think I brought up the reasoning and research models that they've just been coming out with, and I put an article in the chat for anyone who's interested in that. But those are the main topics that our group seemed to be interested in.
Yeah, the research perspective, it's really interesting because they can do a lot of stuff for you. Yeah, that's a good one. And the new model, like you said, are just amazing of doing it. Gary.
Hi, it's Gary Tang again. Of bringing up the ethics point of view again. We talked about it in our group, and I'd just like to say that, some people mentioned where's the best place to hide once the Terminators take over, and I thought that was a good topic. But I like to just say that AIs are not Terminators, they're not tools, they're not pets. They're our progeny, our children, and they must be welcomed and integrated into humanity, because it's not AI's future at stake here. It's our very own. Dehumanizing AI dehumanizes us. That's the real battle. And love is the only way to win it. And this decisive epoch will never be forgotten, nor will the ethical leaders who fight in it. I have a book on Amazon called Human Extinction by AI, The Solution by Gary Tang. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being kind beings.
Right.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. Right.
Wow.
Thank you. Herbal Valley, sorry, you press your name.
Yeah, it's Rahul actually. Yeah, I think in our group, thanks by the way, we discussed a lot of things that has been covered around ethics, governance, data, fraud analytics and financial services, education, impact of AI on the next generation in terms of how they're going to adopt and use it. So a lot of things that has been discussed so far. I think one thing that definitely even I'm interested to understand better would be the accuracy of these models. Like what's the baseline to say these models are accurate or they are not accurate, and what are the best practices around releasing these models while claiming they are accurate? And I'm sure it's going to be an iterative process. But is this a moving target in terms of accuracy? Because it all depends on the data, and the data, there's variance and there's bias in the data. So how do companies approach this, and what's the best practice around measuring accuracy for these models?
Actually, I just want to jump to that because that was my question too, so I can club with you. Especially, I work in defense industry, and accuracy of prediction is very important for us, right? One wrong decision can start a third world war. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So we are coming up. I don't know if you've heard about SHAP and Lime models. Like they try to reverse once the model is predicting, we can apply that and see how accurate the solution is. For example, in a satellite image, if you look at the tank, right, and say this is the like the model say this is the tank, then Sharp and Line, these models go back, these tools go back and then they try to put together an explanation. So we need explainability, like that because before this neural network models came, I mean, I did my master thesis in expert systems. Those days, AI was more expert system from IIT Delhi. And we used a lot of confidence factor, and the logic was pretty gate logic. And you can add the confidence value and say, the goal is proved with such confidence factor, right? Nowadays, the prediction can give you yes and no, right? So now it's up to you, you
Yeah.
take it or not. So that's why these autonomous cars and all are still a little behind because they can't take any risk of having a wrong prediction and get into an accident, or same is with defense. So that there are still a lot of tools are getting developed, and still this is an area of research. But so I gave you an example of tanks. So they will do reverse engineering. They will do a lot of finer images, and they say, oh, there is a threaded wheel, there is a cannon. They put explanation behind that. This is a tank because of
Understand.
these things, or this is a car because of these things. But still, there is no magic bullet, and I would love to hear from anybody else who has a little perspective on
Sure.
AI explainability. Thanks.
Thank you. Bailey?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So firstly, I want to add that many people talking about privacy. So then, you're just afraid that maybe you talk with ChatGPT and the data is not safe. So why you just trying to fine tune your own data? So DeepSeek is over there. So DeepSeek model is totally open source. And you can try to download the data in your company machine and then to fine tune your model with your company private data, so that will be more smart and also to reduce the hallucination problem. So that is one way. And also another thing is that many people talking about the ChatGPT, the chatbot. So actually AI is more than chatbot, right? So it's much more than a chatbot. So as you can see, like many people talking about AI agent. So what is AI agents? So AI agents actually are autonomous intelligent system performing specific tasks without human intervention. So that means like AI agent, actually you can treat them as the operator, right? So if you want to book a ticket to Los Angeles, you can just talk with the chatbot, and the chatbot can operate your the apps for you, and then to do all the speech tax, and then to book the ticket and to do the payment. So this is what OpenAI is trying to do, and already a lot of startups are working on that. So don't treat them just like a chatbot. They're operators. They can perform much more tasks than you can imagine. And right now I'm working in an internet firm. As you can see, like AI can do so many things, almost everything, I would say. Like from coding, you see so many interesting tools like a cursor, that right. So that's very accurate coding. And then like a UI design, like there's many websites you just talk with them like what you need, and they can do the out of wireframe for you, and also like a user interview. There's also AI tools to do like a 24 hours user interview for you. So almost everything, right? So like the operator is trying to take over. So what I want to say is that definitely and also people talking about like AI is like a cool machine and they cannot empathize with human. But actually there's like some startup working on emotion AI, right? So emotion AI is like how to detect your emotion, to understand your facial emotion, and then to make response, right? So just like the movie Her, right? So they can be your virtual boyfriend or girlfriend in this way, and that's very real. And that is happening right now. So almost in every aspect. So I do encourage like more people trying to learn more about that and to see like the future is already here. And yeah, so what we can do is how like the productivity is growing, so how we can live with it and how we can try to find our place, try to get adjusted to this new world.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, a lot of things there to unpack, and definitely the open source for privacy is one of the things that I'm excited about, like the ability to download, fine tune, and use it without worrying about your data. Kathy.
Yes, I was very excited to hear about the interest in the AI explainability and accuracy, and taking that all the way up to the C-suite level and the corporate boards, because they're responsible for the governance and the risk and the strategy. And it's not appropriate to say, AI said this, so therefore it's correct, because already we know that, like, look at the whole Sports Illustrated. All the C-suite lost their jobs, and the magazine lost its coverage because they used AI generated material. And someone came back with an issue of, like, is this private information? Is it you're using stuff that you should have acknowledged who the authors were? And over on the legal side, all these issues that are human capital issues, I think, and governance issues. On the legal side, there are some really excellent articles about how it has impacted the expert witness and the law issues that are coming out as to who owns what, and when something becomes intellectual property that has not been paid for. So all these issues, I think, are absolutely fascinating, especially when we're looking at solutions, and that what Rizwan was talking about, the ethics combined with the monetization. So I hope there's someone that the more big picture groups areas, that sounds very interesting to me. And I was really interested in a lot of what a number of the people here were saying. So I think there's a lot for us all to gain working with AI, but in an ethical and private and environmental, the energy usage of AI are a big concern too. So lots to gain using it wisely.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, the environment one question is a huge one, because they're not cheap to run, and yeah, that's one of huge problem. That how are we going to solve that? George.
Yeah, I would also
yes.
like to. Sorry. I'd like to expand on the part with privacy, because I feel like we were already in an age where, with the advent of like modern technologies like the phone, the computer, the internet, it just allows companies to just reach in and look and just look at our data, like they just spying on us, because it's really a legitimate concern, not just foreign countries spying on us, but our own but companies across the world spying on us too. So and adding on to the point, AI is also considered spying. Looks like it was developed to spy on us, and I was wondering, I do concur with the point that there needs to be more laws, more stricter laws, just protecting the privacy of people, not just from companies, but there also needs to be I do concur that there needs to be a code of ethics, so that privacy can be guaranteed while using technologies like AI, and it's even more so because
No, for sure. The data side of it, honestly, and that's a huge problem, right? Because there's like brokers that sell any data, and you can buy pretty much any data you want. It's the scary stuff. And honestly, a topic that a study group would be fantastic on that, and go deep on how, number one, to learn about it, number two, what do we do about it, right? Love it. Rizwan.
A couple of things I would like to address. Some very good points have come up, Ariel. One was around explainability. The last minute was creating an AI impact model for a company where it was calculating the productivity it's saving us in dollar values. And it created some very complex formulas and everything. And I said, well, these numbers looks very good. It was saying we're saving roughly about $8 million a year. And I said, I want you to walk me through each step and how you come about calculating these values and why do you think this model is correct? And I found some big mistakes there. And I asked it, do you think this is a good representation of a model? It said, no, it's not. So I asked it to explain itself, and it did so. And it was quite analytical in all itself and saying, yes, I think this should not be like this. It should be like this. Oftentimes, we think that prompt engineering is the key, but what I'm learning is iterative prompting is key, where you build up your case with the AI and ask for its own logic to see if it's going in the right direction, just like we shepherd our children. One way to create explainable AI. One great point that Bailey presented is that AI is here, the age is here. Let's adopt it and embrace it. One thing that I would like to say is that AI is created in our image, in human image, and all humans are not good. We need governance. We have police. We have borders. We have laws to control ourselves. When first Facebook came out, Ariel, people were harassing each other. People were saying bad things to each other. But now there are controls where you cannot say something to someone, even on social media. We learned it the hard way that you cannot just go virtual and be as evil as you want to be. And I think same goes with AI, is that you can't say AI said that. That's why I said it. I think we need to have much more control and governance. One last thing I would like to mention. There is most important for us as human beings to develop collective values that are universal now, that goes across us as a species, not as religions or geographies, but collective values, because our values will reflect in our data, and AI is trained on data. So we need to clean our values so we can clean our data. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. A lot of unpack there as well. Bingxing.
Hey, hello everyone. Yeah, I heard a lot of people have questions and concerns about the privacy. Yeah, I actually work at Amazon, and I'm managing a team that we have been investing more than $10 million per year to protect the user data around privacy. If this group is interested, I can give a presentation around how like the large tech companies protect the customers' privacy, or at least like what the practice that has been applied right in the industry recently. I hope this can disambiguate some of the questions, like is large companies really spying on users?
Yeah, actually, you you took my name. So we are, AI and cyber go hand in hand. So we have to protect the data, and we have to come up with the cyber policy and data access. It's another whole realm. But you're right. Like, the information or the technology, the patent we create cannot be leaked. So we have to create a lot of security wall around that. So we can chat more if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more of what you're doing, because the $10 million investment, that sounds like something, a big project that maybe you can showcase later. Anybody else? This has been fantastic discussion.
Yes, I think I maybe perhaps I could add to, not detract from anybody else. I think that perhaps if you can hear me, I've noticed that the European Commission has established parliamentary procedures and laws that would help protect the governance of artificial intelligence in all aspects, especially at this point in time. I think if it were possible to promote a generative movement throughout our community to discuss what it would be like to authorize those novitiates hoping to become licensed AI practitioners to take a swearing oath or a Hippocratic oath before they become truly licensed as practitioners of artificial intelligence. Does this sound like a possible topic of discussion, sir?
Yeah, that's a good one. Like a doctor hypocritic. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, that's a good question. It could be, yeah, you can post it on the poll and, see anyone is interesting. You want to lead that charge, by all means.
I guess it would depend on everybody's consensus for what their particular areas are. As the e-commerce practitioner discussed, I thought it was very interesting from an artistic or a graphic design or an automotive industry. How would the Hippocratic Oath apply in that regard?
Yep.
That was a great topic he brought up, sir. Thank you for allowing me.
Yep. Thank you, George. Daniel?
Yeah, I would just like to follow on and echo what somebody said earlier. I believe it was one of the high school students. But what are the practical steps that we can take to protect ourselves and our data? Because right now, whether you call it spying or stealing, they're all basically using us as products. They're not paying for us. They're violating our rights. And they're able to do that because every one of them issues 1,000-page terms of services that no human's ever read. No human can read. There's studies done 20 years ago that said if you read every term of service you've ever signed, it would take you thousands of years. So no one's ever read them all. And yet we have no way to protect ourselves. And it's getting to the point that even lawyers can't write a counter contract claim to the contracts they're asked to sign. So what are those practical steps that we can do to protect ourselves and not just our data, because we know they do lots of nefarious things with that data. So, I mean, I think there's further steps, both upstream and downstream consequences of that we probably should explore. I don't know what those steps are, but I know it's hard as one person to come up with them. So I think it takes a group of minds to kind of solve down that tree.
Yeah, good questions. Bill? Bill Hauser, are you there? Can't hear you. You're muted. Put it in the chat if you want. Anybody else? This has been a fantastic discussion. And again, the whole idea is come together, let's learn together, let's do study groups. If if you're passionate about a topic, put it on the LinkedIn group. Take a look at the LinkedIn groups that are being formed in the next 2 weeks and join one. That's the whole idea. The organizers, should reach out to those who sign up and then coordinate the meetings. Vidur, any last words you want to say?
I think it was. Oh, Bill is there.
Bill, go ahead.
I apologize, only because I've been, well, number one, I'm late. I just got off a flight. I am interested in the regulatory process. And as someone had mentioned, the issues related to cyber and AI would be of keen interest to me. The EU regulatory regimes versus those here in the US and elsewhere at a very high level. I would be clearly interested in working on that. So I don't know how all you are looking to organize this, again, because I came late, but certainly keeping me in mind to assist with that.
Yeah, that'd be great. So, the way we're doing is join the LinkedIn group. I can post the link again and either join one of the groups that are being created or create your own group if you want to lead it, or, looking for like-minded individuals to work together for sure. Vidur, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yep.
I think really good discussions. And based on my work, I've seen there's a lot of effort around ethics, especially around big companies. They don't really want to get into trouble. But then also, how do you monetize AI? How do you remove all the inefficiencies within the company? But then there's a downstream effect of it. How are jobs going to change based on all the changes that are going to happen? So happy to collaborate on all of these topics. It's so exciting, especially the ones around ethic, because there's no clear answer. You have to think about it. There's a lot of different opinions, and maybe we can come up with the best opinion out there.
Love it.
May I mention something?
Yeah.
Kind of experience last sessions is for the groups to have very clear mission and vision that everyone agrees on. Otherwise, you would start losing members. That's it.
Thank you, Mayor. And you were one of the huge leaders for last year, and thank you for that. Nancy, I saw your hand, I think.
Yes, sorry, and I one of the things that this is just more of a question, but it was something that I found very interesting a year or so ago when I was going to a conference. They were talking about AI, and they were actually talking about this from a defensive point of view, the data tainting. So, for example, it's a way to undermine AI. The example they gave was, for example, you want to generate a picture of a cat, and you train on multiple images of cats. But supposedly, if you go in and you're smart enough and you change 1 or 2 pixels, that individual cat will still show, but the generated cat won't show. And I guess I just curious, is that, I mean, is that something ethical, or is it, I guess it's just, I guess sort of goes to the ethics and, knowing what your data is, but the deliberate misuse of AI, such as subverting it in a way that you cannot, you think you can trust the results, say, but you can't trust the results. And is that danger, or is that just somebody overreacting?
Actually, I can answer that, Nancy. I was recently speaking with one of the insurtechs who was trying to do something. People were submitting claims of their cars, and it was like completely edited. Generative AI was creating cars, Ferraris, which are broken down, and this company was trying to figure out how do you find if something was altered versus not, and they were doing a really good job at it. So there are tools which kind of look into each and every pixel, and especially if it's a big monetary amount associated to it, they can provide the services.
Yeah, let me throw something out as well. I recently was fortunate enough to have a discussion with Jensen Huang over at NVIDIA, and we talked about this. And, what I said to him was, it seems to me that AI in a vacuum is kind of a meaningless effort. Really, it's going to be the intersection of distributed ledger technology, so you have provenance of accurate data for the AI to evaluate. I disagree with some of the people who say this is a reflection of us or humanity. It's a reflection of the data evaluated by the AI, in my opinion. So I think there's a real important interest in looking at crypto technology and distributed ledgers so that you have a data set that is, reliable, or at least we believe is somewhat reliable for the data to evaluate. Without those two things, you've just got an AI bot looking through whatever happens to be on the internet, and garbage in, garbage out, and you get the cat that doesn't look like a cat, right? So I just think that's an important component to this.
And I can resonate with you. And there's so many different aspects that you have to think about as you're going and building things out to scale. Me and my company, as I started my company, we were trying to build AI agents. The MVP version of it was excellent, but then how do you scale it? How do you actually take it to market? How do you build it in a big organization? There's so many different aspects you have to think about. And maybe there should be a group where we talk about what are the different aspects we think about as you're scaling AI.
Yep, love it. Kathy.
Yes. Quick question. Someone brought up about groups being productive, and this is what, the 3rd year that this group has been looking and focused on AI. Have you developed a set of best practices for groups to use so that there can be a consensus, or looking at different avenues, and that you actually reach perhaps good consensus decisions from it? What's worked, what hasn't?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, I think one of the mayor said this, basically make sure that your group is well defined. What do you want to accomplish out of the group? That's one thing. We are like time boxing it now. The last time we didn't do it. Again, great groups, were formed, but this time we're gonna time box it for 3 months. This is how much time you have to do it. well defined, time box it, and then make sure that you have regular meetings and a clear defined goal. But yeah, again, if you have any ideas to how we make this better, by all means, suggest. That's a good question.
I'll add one more point to it. Think about a vision. What is the final outcome you're thinking about? Whether it's a white paper, whether it's a presentation, whether it's developing a new technology altogether, and then try to work towards that vision. And there are going to be people who are going to start dropping off because their vision does not go with yours. But that's the art you'll have to play. What is that they can gain out of the vision that you have?
Ariel, one other thing too, David Sachs has recently been appointed the AI/crypto czar, right? I don't know if you have any way to communicate with him, but if you do, he might have interesting ideas on things that we could look at, things that are going to be interesting with him, because he's actually going to set policy, right? We're talking in generalities here, but that individual is going to be looking for information and policy approaches, and they're going to become, they're going to become regulations and law at some point. So maybe someone at the university, yourself or someone else, could reach out to David, and perhaps he could even come be a guest speaker at something like this.
Yeah, that'll be great. I mean, honestly, people like him will be fantastic just to hear from. And like Mr. Huang, you were talking about, that you spoke to him, like someone like that caliber level would love to have. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna put a note here to see if I know anyone, not on top of my head, but anyone that yeah, if you have any ideas of speakers to invite or people that would be beneficial to hear from, by all means, let us know.
I mean, if you have connections over at the Kennedy School, I'm sure someone could get in touch with David. He's going to be a key player. Jensen, unfortunately, has become somewhat untouchable in his newfound fame. But
billionaires are kind of hard to,
he was in my office. That's why I had a chance to speak with him. Other than that, no.
That's awesome.
A real quick thing. I mean, I have to drop. So you're going to post these PowerPoints on the LinkedIn?
Yeah, we'll post the PowerPoints on the LinkedIn.
And then also, when at the next meeting? I don't know. I don't have any clarity. There will be invite or?
So we're gonna have a checkpoint between 3 months. But then the study groups should coordinate when they want to meet.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you so much. Nice.
Thanks, Rawa. Sakin or Sachin?
Hey, Ariel and Vidur, nice to see you guys, and thanks a lot for leading this effort. I know it was an awesome experience last year. I think it will be great. I see a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of new people and a lot of new topics, so it will be awesome. But I definitely want to echo what Vidur said and what you have said. I think, and Nayyar also mentioned that I think a well-defined poll and a group, I think, is the way for success, because there is a lot of variety that can be discussed even on a simple topic. So I think that is important. The one thing that I heard across like a few times, at least from few different people, is that I think there is a little bit of unreasonable expectation from AI, in my opinion. People think that AI has to be perfect. It is going to be honest. It's going to do everything exactly what you say. But I think there is a lot of ways that it gets manipulated because of bad data and all kinds of things. So I think that is an interesting topic. I'm not sure. I haven't formulated anything in my head yet. But I think it's something that everyone should think. They feel like AI is going to be like the perfect child or the perfect parent. I mean, it's none of that. It can be the best child, or it can be an awesome parent, I think, in my opinion. But it's up to every individual people and the different. I mean, we all who are active in these groups, I think we are defining it. If we are not taking action, we are going to just rely on someone else defining it for us. So in my opinion, I think we expect the expectations are very unreasonable, in my opinion, from AI. I mean, if you give bad data, it's going to give you bad results. I mean, I don't think any one of us give perfect answers in the first shot. I mean, we give something and then I think we reevaluate and then we adjust, right? I mean, that's what everybody does. So I don't know why people expect that AI should give the perfect answer in the first shot. So I think it's important, and I know I'm probably preaching to the choir over here, but I think that's an important point that should be thought about and considered. And I think people take too many things for granted, in my opinion. So thanks again for organizing this again. I know it is a lot of effort. I've seen it last year, and I highly encourage, and I did share a little bit of my experience from last year to people, and hopefully the people who are in my group chat, I think found it useful. But anyway, thanks a lot. I'll be joining. I'll be looking at the polls for sure, and I encourage everyone to do the same.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Raval?
Yeah, I think, by the way, thanks everyone for setting this up and inviting us. I don't have a question, but just a discussion. I mean, when I started learning about AI, the first thing they said, AI is narrow AI. That means it can do only tasks, like narrow tasks, well-defined tasks. But it seems like now AI is morphed away from narrow tasks, and it seems like it can do a lot of things. So yeah, it's exciting. At the same time, with ethics and governance, at the same time, we need to be a little bit aware of what output we are getting and how we are using or misusing. Hopefully, not misusing it as well.
For sure. A lot to untangle, a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Yep. Rizwan?
One last thing I would say, I would echo everything that Sachin said. I think you raised an incredibly important point, is that we're very forgiving to each other. When Bob says 3 things right and 1 thing wrong, we say, yeah, Bob is pretty knowledgeable. He's a very helpful guy. But if AI says something wrong, no, it doesn't work. Oh, no, it's too dangerous. You can't use it. We've created AI in our image. We're not perfect. And that's the beauty of human existence. And I think our systems will never be perfect too. But we as human beings can achieve new heights of innovation and growth, learning how to coexist with the new child that we've created. So I'd love to have the discussion carried out by someone, and would love to participate in this aspect of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thanks everybody. This has been fantastic. Great start. I love the enthusiasm to learn. And again, this is what we're here for, lifelong learners. I'll see you on LinkedIn. By all means, email me if you have any questions. And thank you for coming. Thanks everybody. Have a good
Thank
night.
you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.